And Justin a jump on when you can. And we are live. Hey, how about you, everybody? Welcome into the Auburn Live call-in show special edition, Halloween edition. Auburn fans went trick-or-treating today and got a treat. I think most of them view it as a treat. Bryan Harsin, as we all know by now, has been relieved of his duties as head coach at Auburn, and we will get to that soon. We will get to your calls. We want to hear from as many fans as possible, from as many listeners and subscribers as possible. I'm your host, Jeffrey Lee, senior recruiting editor for Auburn Live on 3. And if you're not a member of that site, man, we have been cranking out content all day long. We will continue to until this thing is resolved. We've got content out the yin-yang, and it is a special offer right now, $25 for the entire year. And hope you get on there and join us because it will be worth your money, we promise you. Tonight, we've got a hodgepodge of participants. We got Jhead up there in the middle. We got Keith Niebuhr there. Cole is joining us today. He had the night off last night, and then Zach in the back has moved to the front. Fellas, real quick, recap of the day. Bryan Harsin was let go around noon Central Time today. Shortly thereafter, Eric Keesall was let go. Brad Bedell was let go, Darren Usher, Jeff Pittman, the strength and conditioning coach, Drew Fabianich, the general manager, and Brad Lorado, the chief of staff. We've learned John Cohen has been officially announced as the athletics director at Auburn. Cadillac Williams has been promoted to the interim coach, and you've got to assume that with all these assistant coaches on the way out, that a lot of these analysts will be moving up for them. Let's get right to the calls. Also in recruiting, real quick, Janoris Wilson, the offensive lineman from Lakeland, decommitted just immediately after the news of Bryan Harsin. And Jeremiah Cobb, I don't know if this was related or not. I think he was going to go anyways. But Chad Simmons from On 3 said this Jeremiah Cobb, Auburn's 4-star running back commitment from Montgomery, will be visiting Georgia this weekend. So let's get to the calls, man. Let's get us started there. Jhead, you want to jump in?
One other news nugget, Rich McGlynn promoted to deputy athletic director.
There you go. He is not going anywhere.
No.
Just assuming another title, Rich McGlynn. So let's get to us, Zach.
All right. 9612, kicking the show off. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
This your guy Memes, and we're actually in Auburn today.
Nice. Memes, what's up, buddy?
Memes a millennial.
Oh, Memes.
Oh.
Yeah. So, speaking of millennial, the opposite of millennial, I just realized I was blocked on Twitter by Philip Marshall, so I'm still emotionally recovering.
Oh.
Hey,
T's and P's. T's and P's,
baby. Every time he blocks me, I know. I don't know why. So we're trying to figure that out. Any listeners using hashtag free memes to get him to unblock me? We just want justice. But how's everybody doing today? Kind of low key day. Just figured to call, talk, hang out.
Typical Halloween.
Slow news day,
sure.
man, right?
Normal.
What's on your mind, big dog?
Well, the first thing I was calling to say was just happy birthday, Nick Saban.
Come on, killer.
Yeah.
This is actually probably not what he wanted.
Yeah, actually, this probably is the best birthday gift Auburn could have gotten Alabama, because the recruiting momentum that comes out of this and just the overall momentum is not good for them. So I kind of like that. It's a very passive aggressive jab at them. So that's thinking outside the box. Well, I guess the pressure's on me to say something here. I was absolutely flabbergasted that wherever Justin Hokanson is had a meeting today with Harsin that got canceled on his way there because he got fired.
Mm-hmm.
That's a fact. I was talking through Justin. Here's the thing. So Justin calls, and I hope Justin will join us here shortly, and I'm sure he is. He's already been cranking out some really great content, some behind-the-scenes stuff there with Harsin and his ouster not long ago. But Justin calls, and he says Bryan Harsin wants to meet with him at noon. And, of course, I was like, well, first of all, show up an hour and a half late.
Oh.
Put your phone down, hit record, and say, Bryan Harsin, nice to get some one-on-one time with you. But I told him, I was like, I wish either one of us had the bravery to do either one of those things. But he never got that far. About 11:50, he was on his way to meet with Harsin, and I think Kirk Sampson said, don't worry about coming up here, check your email. And so that was how Justin found out Bryan Harsin got fired. So yeah, that was a true story.
I got a quick question for you guys. I know there's a lot of other callers in here, so I won't take too much time. Just some discussion point here to make my normally just wasted time antics somewhat on topic here. What, out of the people who've been fired so far, minus Harsin, which one was the most surprising that happened today?
Oof.
Drew Fabianich, without question.
Yeah, 100%. That was mine.
That's the one I was thinking too. Do y'all have any theories as to why he went? Because him obviously not being a Harsin direct hire, no Boise connections, it seemed like he was very much an outlier.
I think him and Rich McGlynn butted heads. I think that was I mean, the guy's been here for 90 days, and from all we've heard about Drew Fabianich from recruits, I mean, you had recruits tweeting at him today, so he was a very big deal for Auburn. That's why I didn't think – I thought he would be the last person that would get fired in the first wave. And so when he was with the Boise guys who came from Boise with Harsin, I was very surprised and did a little digging, and to me that sounds like what it was. He was with Rich's new role, and I'd seen it. That's not the same as the assistant athletic director to NIL. Is that right, Jhead?
That's correct. So he's
Okay.
the deputy director, so the number 2 in charge within the new athletic directors in the athletic department.
I know Drew Fabianich and Rich McGlynn did not see eye to eye on a lot of things. I'm pretty sure had Rich McGlynn been named athletics director, Drew would have packed up his bags and been gone tomorrow morning. So with Rich being named number 2, that's not much. I think maybe Rich beat him to the punch and fired him before he could quit. So when you look at it from that angle, I think it makes a little bit more sense. Those two were not going to work together.
Very interesting. Well, hey, I'll jump off, let other folks jump in and talk. So
Appreciate you, Memes.
got it, guys.
Appreciate
Thanks,
you, big dog.
Yes, sir.
Very interesting. Well, hey, I'll jump off,
4148,
let other folks
you're
jump in and
live.
talk. So, appreciate you, Memes. Got it, guys. Appreciate you, big dog. Yes, sir. From as many fans.
Thank you.
4148, you're live.
Hey guys, it's Gomer. How are y'all tonight?
What's up, Gomer?
Gomer. What's up?
Jay Lee, I just gotta say, it's the Shrivel freaking pie!
Hey!
Undefeated.
Man,
Still undefeated.
guys. I mean, good grief! It's a happy day. It's a-
Happy day.
and I hate to say that, it's just crazy. Have y'all ever seen a house cleaning like this with 50% of a coaching staff, not just a head coach? I'm just talking a house cleaning.
And it's not over.
It's
This is the first wave.
The only thing that even
what do
comes
you
close to
think
that-
is really going on? I don't think it's sabotage, but is it? Do you think it's just complete neglect because the whole coaching staff knew what was coming?
I think it's trying to probably liberate the Auburn fan base and some of the boosters around it to give it a clean start, if I'm being completely honest. I don't think that Brad LaRondo and Darren Usher and Eric Keesaw are bad guys by any means. But I think this was a way to make a clean parting of ways, to clear the path for Cadillac to kind of reinvigorate this program and lead these guys on the field and try to win as many games as they can down the stretch. Okay, this is about Auburn rallying around Auburn right now. And anybody that's not bought into
Understood
that,
that.
yeah. So I think it's
I mean, it's interesting that most of it was on the offensive side, Jhead. I mean, and Schmedding is still here. What do you think that deal is?
I don't think they necessarily have somebody that can be the defensive coordinator they feel can be the defensive coordinator and fill that role the same way Jeff Schmedding can, if I'm being completely honest. Maybe Christian Robinson can do it because he's done it in the past. He was the interim DC at Florida last year. But I think they feel more comfortable making changes with some of the off-the-field personnel they have on the offensive side of the ball than they do necessarily on the defensive side of the ball. So I think it's more about the personnel that you've got on one side vice the other.
God, it's a little bit concerning to hear about McGlynn's not being able to get along with Savionic. I really thought he was the liaison between our so-called, recruiting class and what we had of it, and a new coach. And just personality-wise, just Auburn still infighting. It just seems so weird still.
Well, it wasn't because of his work ethic or his resume since arriving at Auburn, because it's been nothing but positive about Drew Fabianic. So it couldn't be anything about his, what he's doing work-wise.
Yeah, but so why still keep a position for McGlynn? Is that to appease, do you think, the money guys and the powers that be, that there's just someone still there that, they have contact with?
No, I think that was
coming in.
I think that was more about the president rewarding Rich McGlynn, if we're being completely honest. I think that was a situation. I don't think they're trying to appease anybody. I think that the president feels some loyalty to Rich because he's held the athletic department together for this last 60-plus days or whatever it's been since Alan Green's departure. Probably feels as though he's earned a promotion of sorts. But make no mistake about it, this is going to be John Cohen's athletic department. John Cohen is going to be running the show as far as that's concerned, and Rich McGlynn will be answering to him. Now, there may have been some changes today that Rich had his hand in, but moving forward, John Cohen's going to have autonomy to handle this how he sees fit, 100%.
And you know what? I think the move today before the announcement of Cohen was, listen, this is not his mess to clean up.
Right.
Let's get this out of here. This is not his deal. Let's clean this up. Let's let him come in, start fresh. And I also think, Gomer, Rich McGlynn has a lot of people supporting him at Auburn. And, Bruce Pearl's a big advocate for Rich McGlynn. Butch Thompson, he's done a lot for that basketball program, baseball program. So there was a lot of people that like Rich McGlynn. He's done a lot of good things, I know, for the basketball program. They respect the hell out of him. So I would imagine that had a little bit to do with it. He had a lot of support.
I don't dislike him, Jay Lee. I agree, and I know that he has a lot to do with us getting a national championship and keeping Cam on the field in 2010. I mean,
sure.
Seriously. But anyway, I'm hoping and praying it's all the best, and we're getting everybody on board now. It was a little bit strange with hearing that Roberts was interviewing Cohen without talking to Johnny Harris, without talking to Butch Thompson, without talking to Bruce, and without talking to any of the money guys. I get it. He's got autonomy, but I thought we were going to get everybody on board finally, and it seems like we're still fighting.
I wouldn't. Go ahead, Keith. You've been wanting to jump in here.
Look, here's the issue. You can tell a select few people, but anybody that coaches, we like them all. We know a lot of these people, but coaches, by and large, they're no better at keeping secrets than the average human, right? So when you're running a search, and you're trying to keep some validity, some privacy with that search, because what happens when it gets out there that a guy at another school is interviewing with Auburn? It can be uncomfortable for that person, as I'm sure the last 24 hours probably were, or 48 hours for John Cohen. So you try to limit the amount of people with true insight into that. So I get it. You want to lean on some people, but a better way to approach it, and maybe this is what Mr. Roberts did, was getting to know your coaches to figure out what kind of people they like, what kind of people could they work with, and then going out and finding somebody like that. And maybe that was
I
you know what I mean?
I get that, Keith.
Yeah.
But I mean, you have two coaches that worked directly underneath him before.
Well, do we know for a fact?
And don't you think you could get insight from them before the talk's going?
Well, but do we know for a fact that he didn't? Do we know 100% certainty that he didn't glean any information from them?
Well, there was a quote from Justin that said that didn't happen, and so I don't know. But it's all moving forward now.
That's right.
Yep.
More power to Cohen, and I wish him the best, and I wish Auburn the best now. Move forward.
if you look at the timing of today's announcements, it wasn't that long ago that people were questioning the president's intelligence level. Okay, like yesterday.
Yeah.
And
this morning,
that guy proved to not only be an assassin, he proved to be somebody that's pretty smart and savvy, because the way he set it up when they announced it for Cohen, nobody was even thinking about that.
No.
There was no ability there was no blowback at all. And so,
hey, let's move forward. I appreciate you guys and all your information. I'll let you talk to other callers.
hey, appreciate you, Gomer.
War Eagle.
Yeah, buddy, I appreciate you, man. Hey, let's don't forget about the Matt Zenith report on 3 today that Auburn interviewed the Arkansas AD.
Yeah.
Nobody mentioned that guy's name. That could have been the home run that people were hearing about. What you smiling about, Jhead?
I'll talk to you guys about that offline.
Okay. All right, Zach. Keep us rolling, big dog.
7256. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, fellas, you got me?
Yes, sir.
Just got 2 questions.
Who are we talking to?
This is Wes from LaGrange.
What's up, Wes?
Wes.
What's up, fellas? I just got 2 questions, and I'll hang up. I know y'all are probably busy tonight. The first is Zeke Walker and Landon King.
Mm-hmm.
I don't seem like they were wanting to leave because of Harsin, but I saw that they signed NIL deals. So, what are the chances of them staying? And
Very good.
Number 2 is with Cadillac being the interim. What are the chances of him staying on the new staff? Because I feel like a lot of times the interim the new staff comes in interim.
Let's give Cole a chance to respond here. He hadn't had a chance to speak yet.
Well, I was just thinking before he was named interim, I mean, that was the guy we talked about that might have a chance. Maybe if there was going to be anybody left, Cadillac was one of those guys you would think would have a chance. So now that if they went as far to name him interim, he might have a chance. But again, that goes with the new coach. And if they have full autonomy like they should, maybe they don't want Cadillac.
sorry.
But maybe they do, maybe they don't. That's all I'm saying.
You can once you so here's what happens. Once you interview a guy and it becomes obvious that he's going to be the guy, and he knows he's the new head coach, the power shifts from the school to him. Okay? He's no longer trying to impress anybody once he knows he's the guy. And one of the last things you would want to do is tell that guy who to hire and who not to hire. But what you can do is say, would you, out of respect to us for wanting to hire you and the institution here and all that stuff, would you take a close look? Here are some guys we'd like you to take a close look at. But ultimately, it's going to be up to the head coach. They may keep none. So, like we mentioned, Jeffrey and I on our show today, a new coach may say, I want to get this stink of this last couple of years totally off Auburn. Right. And that's not always fair. But the good news is the coaches in this business, they understand that. They understand it better than we do and the people listening. And sometimes we hurt more than they do. They know they're going to be okay. You would hope that they would maybe it could work out with the Cadillac Williams, but we just don't know. There's no way to know until you and by the way, he has to want to stay too. We don't know what Cadillac's thinking right now after all this happens.
And let's take a second here and think about what a big step this is for Cadillac and how happy we all should be for him.
Huge.
A guy that has more ambition than being just a running backs coach at Auburn. Okay, this is a guy that has probably dreams of being a head coach of his own, and now he gets that opportunity and a real chance to win a game or two down the stretch to pad his resume for whenever that next job comes. So Cadillac, you're going to get the best of Cadillac Williams. I think he 100% is all in with Auburn as far as that's concerned. You're not going to have to worry about his integrity of not showing up to the office each and every day, of getting his best and trying to motivate these kids to play hard down the stretch. You got a struggling Texas A&M coming in here who couldn't score points on me and Cole in defensive secondary. You know what I mean? Like, there's a legitimate shot at beating a Western Kentucky and maybe getting an upset against an A&M. And for Cadillac Williams to go 2-2 down the stretch, that would be massive for his career.
Hey, Wes, real quick, man, on that Zeke Walker, Landon King, man, I think they're definitely going to be in a holding pattern to see who the new coach is, to see how. But I would lean to it's all going to matter. I told somebody that they haven't entered the transfer portal. They can't do that until December, and you better believe Auburn. I would like to believe Auburn's going to have a new coach or at least some direction there by the time that portal opens. I think Landon King and hell, all the guys, if the new coaching staff wants them, I think that will be I'm optimistic those guys will stay.
Yeah, it's hard to say they're not going to be interested to see who might come in, right?
Sure,
they're going to be interested in that. And I just want to add one more thing about Cadillac. I think, coaching. Yeah, we're talking about coaching. This is going to be a big time for him to recruit too. I mean, he's got the reins on that. He's going to be recruiting, and he's done a good job of recruiting in his career.
Yeah, Cole. I was going to say with Jeremiah Cobb, I'm going to be the interim all the way through today. So that's probably good for Jeremiah Cobb, wouldn't you say?
Yes.
Yeah, it can't hurt. Definitely can't hurt.
Hey, Wes, we appreciate your call, man.
Yeah, man. Thanks.
Appreciate you, big dog. Hey, if you're looking for a car, I'm just kidding, in LaGrange, Georgia, check out Caleb Schofield, Mike Patton Auto.
3836. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Calling from Grovetown, Georgia.
From where? I'm sorry?
Grovetown, Georgia.
Grovetown.
I got you. Who is this?
I get the
What's the question?
Hey, yes. Name's Damian Postel. I was graduate 2012, played with Lack and all those guys. But just wanted to go into a question about with the new athletic director. How much do you think his involvement will be, of course, coming in, and then with the new head coach? And do y'all think he'll go after Mike Leach?
No.
I do not see him pursuing Mike Leach. That's not a name that is on the radar as of right now. Obviously, they have a relationship as far as that's concerned, but I don't think that's the direction we're going at this point. Now, look, coaching searches can be weird, okay, and there are a lot of factors that can come into play, but that is not a name that's floating out there right now as a party of interest as far as that's concerned. But I think he'll be very involved. I think the athletic director, John Cohen, is going to be leading this search, whether it's him and the president or him and a series of other people at Auburn that have formulated a search committee. I'm not exactly sure. That hasn't been announced to this point. But I feel very comfortable saying he's going to lead this search regardless of who else is involved.
I will say this. I got a text from somebody today who would probably know. They said, when Cohen was at Mississippi State, he tried to hire Lane once. That was interesting.
Huh.
Mm-hmm.
That's interesting, for sure.
Justin Hokanson, our team guy, had his second hot board up today, coaching hot board. 4 names prominently. And listen, we don't know, but we hear things. And the 4 names were Lane Kiffin, Matt Rhule, Hugh Freeze, and Neon Deion.
Prime time.
Interesting. I honestly, that's the best group that I could come up with if I was saying who legitimately has a chance for Auburn to get right.
If those were your 4 top candidates, you could be doing a hell of a lot worse.
Hell yeah.
Right. I mean, you got.
Man, that's good. It's been one of those busy days. It seems like with what's going on, but you hire AD, you fire coach, but then you got a great list to look at to bring in guys, and then you got an interim head coach at Cadillac, so it's looking up, I would say.
There you go, man. And I think that's Damien. I think that's kind of what we were kind of urging, or we thought it would be best, especially Keith. I know he's been publicly in support of this, of getting this done. So Auburn.
I don't want people to lose their jobs. Let's be honest.
Well, yeah.
It's the galvanizing moment. Auburn's been fractured. The Auburn community. This is what's happening today.
Yes.
Right before our eyes. Right.
Absolutely.
It's kind of like concussions in football. It's something when you sign up, it's something that you take a risk. This is a big job. and you got the risk of this happening. If you don't perform well. So,
Right.
Look, and I'll say this: there is no better job than being a fired head football coach in the SEC.
Not from Auburn.
No better job. You telling me any place else you get to sit home for $15 million? No.
Right. Yeah, you fired and you're still getting paid, so that's something.
Yep. Let's take that next trip to Mexico.
It's humiliating for Bryan Harsin. There's no question about it.
Right. It is.
But here's the thing: there's every other school that's not in the SEC, the Big 10, the Big 12, or maybe the Pac-12. Every other school out there, probably half of the schools playing Division I football, would kill to have a coach that was once a head coach at an SEC school. He will have no problem. It'll be up to him. How low does he want to go? Where does he want to go? What part of the country? But he'll have options along with that $15 million, plus the money he's already made at Auburn. But you're right, Jhead. It's the world's not over for him. The people you feel for, and we are the support people whose lives are totally, uprooted now. They got to figure things out fast.
Absolutely.
So you have empathy for them.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking my call. I know I was the name that comes up is Jared McIntyre. I sent him a message earlier today. I was like, me and him need to get on staff and let's get this thing back rolling like when he played.
I hear you, brother.
2004.
Okay, good stuff, Damien, man. We appreciate your call.
All right, man. We got a bunch of callers. Listen, if you're on the call line, you're in the waiting room, just hang tight. We're going to get to all of y'all. You ain't got to hang up and call back in. We're going to get to you.
Real quick, before we go to the next caller, everybody read this comment. Smash that like button right now. If you love this content, subscribe to the YouTube channel. Smash the like button. Make sure you're hooking up Zach in the back for all this hard work that he does for us out here.
Going to have free content all week long. I'm sure we'll be hitting it big all week long until this thing is resolved. Zach, keep us rolling, big dog.
Right,
Appreciate you, Braden Hawk.
Yeah, this person doesn't have a number. So, anonymous, if you can hear me, you're live.
Yeah, I can hear you. Sorry.
Who are we talking to?
This is Susan from South Lake, Texas.
Hey, Susan.
Yeah, I'm an Auburn grad. Many generations. I've got one there, and what a happy day for it.
So you got your treat today, Susan?
Well,
yeah, I like your enthusiasm, Susan.
I am. I'm from the home of Quinn Ewers, Greg Cowboys. So, we want to have something happen. So, I want to ask y'all, we all surprised.
Was I surprised at the result? No. At the timing, yes. As a matter of fact, we all agreed last night that the new AD would be named. He would do his assessment of the football program and then make a move. But now looking back on it, Susan, it makes a lot more sense for these guys at Auburn to say, look, John Cohen, this is not his mess. He shouldn't be brought in here to clean it up. And there were two ways they could have done it. We chose the first way. We were wrong. They chose probably the right way and said, listen, before we hire John Cohen, let's do the dirty work so that he doesn't have to.
And let's think about the president.
My next question is, I've got two kids there at Auburn.
Okay.
I was from the Pat Dye era. Of course, was the best time ever. As much as I hate Deion Sanders in '88 going against us in the Sugar Bowl, or not '89, excuse me, it was hard. It was a hard. But who do you all think we need to hire?
I think if you hire anybody on Justin's hot board right now, you're in a really great position moving forward.
All upgrades.
Yeah,
100%. Look, Lane Kiffin is the best play caller in the SEC, and I don't even think it's really close.
Exactly, I agree.
Primetime is a guy that can go into any living room in America and sell a family and a kid. Hugh Freeze has done it and done it at a high level for a long time. Now, obviously, he's got some baggage, but if you're looking for discount value, I think you obviously could go that direction. And Matt Rhule did a fantastic job, obviously, in your neck of the woods at Baylor, rebuilding that program after Art Briles and the situation that happened there. Obviously, he's in the NFL. But you're talking about a guy that's highly prideful, very skilled, charismatic figure that is looking to reinvent himself. And I guarantee you're going to get his best and a motivated head coach.
Susan, my pick would be Lane Kiffin.
How did we hire Harsin?
That was Alan Green.
He was a dismal failure at Texas.
Listen, I said this before. I don't blame Bryan Harsin. I blame Alan Green because it was a terrible, awkward fit from the get-go. He had no business being down here. No business.
Yep.
And everything Keith wrote about today in the recruiting failures that we saw the last 18 months or whatever it's been just tells you that he had no business down here. It was a bad fit from the beginning. Of course, he's a competitive college coach. Hell yeah, he wants to take that Auburn job. Mm-hmm. He should have never been offered the job. But Susan, answer your question. I've said it before. I like Lane. Personal preference here, Lane Kiffin. To me, Hugh Freeze is a great value brand of Lane Kiffin.
I want to win. You guys, I want to win. I want to beat Saban. I'm tired of us being on the sidelines.
And listen, nobody wants to worse than Lane Kiffin.
No,
Right. Right about that.
Yeah.
And
Well, I appreciate you taking my call. Thank you.
Appreciate you, Susan. Call back, man. That's a good call. We appreciate you. TK says, smash that button. It takes 2 seconds, folks. Subscribe to the Auburn Live YouTube channel. Hit that notification so every time we upload a free video, free content on YouTube, you'll get notified and you can watch it immediately. We appreciate that, TK. Keep us rolling there, Zach.
7112. You're live. Seven 112. You're live.
Where's that gong? I got to get one.
Yeah, right.
I have to buy one.
You got to get on Amazon tonight, Keith.
I mean, might be the best.
Dong.
9332. You're live. Who are we talking to? Where are you calling from?
This is Eric McLaughlin. I'm talking from Little River, Alabama.
What's up, brother?
Wow.
I had tread some turf over there in your part of the world.
What's on your mind, Eric?
Man, I'm gonna tell you something, dude.
Tell me.
I'm tired of watching the same thing that everybody else is watching, and I'm tired of looking at everybody's face on the War Report, this show, and everybody's face that looks like mine. You know. And honestly, man, you know, I feel a relief today. I feel a big relief. And I feel like we should go after Coach Prime, man. I don't think there is another candidate, you know.
Listen, I can make a case for him, Eric. And listen, as a guy who covers recruiting for a living, man, that sure would be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, you think covering Bruce Pearl's recruiting is fun, which I do. Man, covering Deion Primetime's recruitment at Auburn. Oh, my goodness, with this NIL.
Energy that we need at Auburn University right now. Right now, the first day he steps on the campus, man.
I think the only thing where anybody is skeptical is that going from the SWAC to the SEC is a massive leap for a guy that has only been coaching football for 3 years. Now, look, Deion's been involved in football his whole life, okay? He's played the sport at the highest level and been the best of the best. But coaching is not like playing, okay? There's a difference there. And so there is some skepticism. Can he replicate what he's doing at Jackson State in the SEC against Saban and Smart and Brian Kelly and everybody else that he's going to have to go toe-to-toe with, okay? Because at some point, talent levels out, right? And so when talent levels out, can Deion make the in-game adjustments that he needs to make to win those games? That's what I don't know, and I think that's why it's invaluable to have.
You know, I agree with y'all, man. He's unproven. He is unproven in a sense, you know, as a Power 5 coach. But just the hype he brings, man. If you look at the speeches that he brings, you know, look at his game time, you know, his speeches. Look at how he carries himself on ESPN.
Yep.
Look at the energy he brings, man. I mean, cut the check. You know what I'm saying? Cut the check.
I mean, it's instant juice. You're not lying, man.
I would not be against that, Eric. I wouldn't.
You know, I've had a I've actually had
I
a few.
just, like I said, man, I know I'm tired of watching what's been going on, dude. How do you get blowed out by Arkansas? Come on, guys. You know what I mean?
You don't have the talent.
I mean,
Yeah.
That wouldn't be an issue with Deion.
Just let me say this as well. I want to give props to Bo Nix, man. I really do, because
Good for you.
he is over there at Oregon right now lighting it up.
Sure.
I feel like maybe if the Auburn fan base had been a little bit more supportive for him, I'm going to be honest with y'all, I think Bo Nix would have been a better candidate for this year than what we're looking at. You see what I'm saying?
Oh,
I'm not so sure that they didn't do him a favor.
Yeah.
yeah. I agree.
Oh, I believe that. I mean, I can agree with that. I can, but it's just I'm happy to see it for the
Me
kids.
too. Absolutely. Great kid.
First,
Jump in there, Keith.
Well, yeah, once Mike Bobo was fired, that really kind of set things in motion for Bo to leave. He had a good relationship with him. But I will say this about Deion. I've had probably more interaction with him, I think, than maybe the rest of you guys. Just out of luck, because I've covered so many camps he has worked at down in Florida. And I'll tell you some of the good things I've seen as just a guy that took a famous guy, and he still has that ego, and that's fine. But as a guy with that name recognition and that kind of notoriety, he still takes a lot of time at camps that he worked over the last decade that I've seen him to really get in there and do the dirty work with the young guys, the young prospects, to try to help better them and make them better players. And that always impressed other coaches at the big Under Armour camps that he worked at. And a lot of those coaches, Steve Mariucci works at those games a lot. Herm Edwards worked at a lot of those games. And so they were around him, and they were always impressed by him and his let's put it this way. Deion had a plan. This is not all happening by accident, by the way.
No.
He had a plan. Now, on the negative side is that a couple years ago when his son was throwing at Auburn camp, it's kind of a funny story. I think I've told it before. He was leaving the camp, and I figured, well, you know what? His kid doesn't get a ton of attention. He's just a 3-star guy. I'll go do a story. So I walked up to Deion and his son, who's now the starting quarterback at Jackson State. And I said, hey, you guys mind if I do a quick interview with Shadur? And Deion looked at me and said, who are you with? I said, 24/7. He said, no interview. I don't like where y'all have my son around. And so I went back inside and I told the story to somebody at Auburn at the time, and I won't say who, and they go, that kid's a coach killer. And I thought that was unfair. And I think what they meant was they thought Deion would be that helicopter dad.
Yeah.
That would be a drag anywhere his son went. Well, Deion's done great, and the kid's doing great. But it was just funny. He knew where the kid was ranked. And
oh yeah,
it was interesting. It's just interesting. I don't think you can read anything into that other than he was just keeping an eye on where his son was ranked. But
that's prime, baby.
Oh yeah.
I'm telling you, that is prime. And I've even heard Bo Jackson's name mentioned, but I know he's not interested in coaching. But he'll be in the midst of giving his opinion on the coaching hire.
Well, what if you hire Lane Kiffin? Well, then that would mean a job would be open at Ole Miss.
Ooh.
They hired Deion Sanders. He's in the same state. We've heard some buzz about Arizona State having a lot of interest in Deion as well. I think he's going to be at a Power 5 school next year. I just don't know which one he's in.
Exactly. So why not be at Auburn?
Hey, look, what he's done. You think nobody was even, and I've always had a soft spot for the HBCUs because, we're talking 50 years ago. They had a lot of the great players. Florida A&M's the school I grew up keeping an eye on because I was from down this way. Bob Bullet Hayes, Hall of Fame wide receiver. One of the great linemen, I think, from the Miami Dolphins 72 team. And they had a lot of great players, a great coach. And then all the great black players after integration ended up at the Auburns and Florida States of the world. And it just decimated those programs. And so this revival has been great. It's been amazing. And he's the reason. He's the sole reason. And the pride in those communities. If you watch that game day the other day, you don't see pride like that when they're in Columbus.
You don't. I agree.
Tuscaloosa and Auburn. And that was something, man, I'm telling you. And that's because of one guy. That's because of one guy. And if he's never the coach at Auburn, he's still the guy that did all this. And that's pretty impressive.
Agreed.
Hey, good stuff, Eric, man. We appreciate your call.
Man, I appreciate y'all. Appreciate what y'all do. And I just want to say, War Eagle, fellas.
Appreciate you, Eric.
It's going to get better, man. Let's see some happy faces. You know
I hear you.
So,
Well, we got the call line is going crazy, so y'all just hang on. Still going to get to y'all. We're going to limit callers to 1 to 2 questions so we can just keep this rolling. But 5233, you're live. Who are we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Adam Word, Hoover, Alabama.
Say that again, big dog.
Hoover, Alabama.
What's your name, Hoover?
Alan Word.
Oh, okay. What's your question, Betty?
Yes. My mom went to Auburn 55. She knows that student pretty well. He already passed away last week.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Coach Dooley?
I wish we didn't fire the Bryan Harsin because we need to support him 100% like we did Silverbill, that guy, and we need to support them, but we didn't support Bryan Harsin.
I think that's fair, man. I think that's fair. Yeah, I think the biggest thing right now is everybody needs to get on the same page. They need to support John Cohen. They need to support the new football coach. They need to support the guys that are here now, and they definitely need to support these players. I want to see. I think A&M is going to set up. It's a 6:30 kickoff. I think Auburn fans will fill that freaking stadium to the brim, and you will see an atmosphere like you would think you would expect at Auburn on a night game with A&M coming to town. I'm really excited about that. I really think the Auburn family is going to turn up and turn out for the A&M game. Support Cadillac Williams, support these players, and get everybody, as Keith did, back together again.
And these players don't need to leave after what happened last game because they left.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
With some of the fans leaving early. Yeah. It's
I'm
been
really happy with that.
No, and you hate to see it, but I do understand fans and the emotions that they have sometimes when they're witnessing what's happening with our team.
And that was why. Sorry, Jhead. That was why you go ahead and make the decision, right?
Yeah,
you don't wait any longer.
Well, let me say this: we supported Tuberville wins and loses, right?
We did, but I think Coach Tuberville was more invested maybe with the Auburn people some. There had been more – Coach Harsin hadn't been here very long. Coach Tuberville had been here, I think, for 5 seasons when that happened, and he had developed some really deep relationships in the Auburn community, had really kind of cemented himself and built a lot of credibility. And so when people felt as though that the administration had turned their back on him, well, that was a situation that galvanized the fan base. And this is a situation right now where I just don't think there was any way to galvanize the fan base with Bryan Harsin as the head coach moving forward. And it's unfortunate, but it's just kind of how it goes sometimes, unfortunately.
I agree. Hey, Alan, thanks so much for calling, man. We really appreciate it.
All right. War Eagle.
Thanks, buddy. Appreciate you, man.
6687, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Yes. Oh, sorry, hold there. Yes, this is Quattro from Odensville, Alabama.
What's up,
Quattro?
Hey, what's going on, guys?
Nothing much, Quattro. What's on your mind, big dog?
Had a couple of quick things. Just want to mention, get you guys' thoughts on. One, I kind of get the impression that I feel that Cohen is going to go big game hunting here.
Yes,
I do think that 2 candidates, and you should basically, for lack of a better comparison, do a Greg Byrne and just have your guy and be like, this is who we're going to get, and go after them. But I do think Lane and Prom should be the two guys. You think about what the position where Auburn is, where you have the NIL. I know On3 had the article today about how Auburn really is a sleeping giant. You've got a brand new $100 million facility that you're ready to break in as well. Of course, the fan base is ready to jump behind it. So I've had my reservations about Prom, but I've kind of come around a little bit on it. One comparison, Jim Tressel was at Youngstown State and then made the jump up to Ohio State. So I'm like, I think it is possible with the right plan. I haven't quite been on the Lane train, but after the way, seeing how some Ole Miss fans kind of forgetting their place, I wouldn't mind them coming over here either. But just want to see what you guys think about that as well. To me, I think it's one of those two guys, and don't leave until you get your man.
I hear you, Quattro. Hey, appreciate you calling in, big dog.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Cole. You start first.
No, I think you're absolutely on point with the big game hunting comment. I think they are going after the top. You kind of learned your lesson with this last one. You don't. And I'm not necessarily going to say that they settled, but it was just kind of an out of left field hire. You can't afford to do that again. You have to make a hire that makes sense for Auburn, somebody that fits the world of NIL and fits all of that, and knows how to navigate through that. And, the four that Justin has put out there that seem to be focused on, those four guys, I think they understand what that means. And those are your four guys that are way above what was possible last time to me.
And every one of those guys, there's juice, there's buzz attached to those names, right? Like, and listen, I am a diehard football guy. Okay, I knew who Bryan Harsin was when he was hired, but the common fan, I think there were a lot of people scratching their head like, who did we hire? And particularly in recruiting, Bryan Harsin was not a known entity in the Southeast, not at all. So if you're
still isn't,
I'm going to stay away from that. But if you're trying to create a buzz and you're trying to add some people to this signing class, because obviously your roster is turning over completely this offseason.
Yeah.
You need to bring in somebody that's going to draw some attention and be able to capitalize on the recruiting trail. And I think every one of these guys can do it.
The game has changed a little bit. The game of coaching changes, there's been periods where guys at big name programs or big name guys didn't leave their current job for another job. But once they were at a so-called destination job, that was it. So what was a destination job? A Florida State, a Notre Dame.
Mm-hmm.
And lately you've seen guys leave those programs. And I think that has got people thinking a little bit bigger. And I still say, Jimbo leaving for Texas A&M, Lincoln Riley leaving. We talked about this on another show. Brian Kelly, to me, though, was the one that made people think, anything may be possible.
Right.
Because Notre Dame, at the end of the day, some people view it as, one of those two or three, that's it. There's no place to go above that status-wise. And so when you get a guy to leave that school, it makes you think maybe my school can think big too, think about some possibilities. And so, I think if those four candidates that we've mentioned are in fact candidates, and we think they probably are, and if those are big name guys, those are guys like you guys said that create buzz, that get people talking about your program. Auburn's in the spotlight right now. Boy, you couldn't ask for much better than this right now. There's not 5 marquee programs looking for coaches. There's one historic top 15 program. Excuse me.
Great point.
One historic top 40 program.
Right.
Because Colorado, I think Jhead, me, you, and Jeffrey, to us, Colorado, we remember the Rashawn Salams. We remember the team that won the national title.
Eric Bieniemy.
Guess what? Weren't very good before that. Have only been average to worse since.
Yep.
That was the exception. That's not a historic program.
You're right, Keith. I don't remember Colorado being good.
Arizona State had Frank
Slash.
Arizona State had some great coaches, Frank Kush, but they were not in the Pac-12. They were in another conference.
Yeah, Eric Bieniemy.
That's right. They had Arizona State then had John Cooper. They also they had Jake Plummer, the quarterback. So, but there's been small windows of success. Auburn's a historic top 15 program. All right, and so all eyes are on Auburn. Boy, Auburn was the talk of all sports media today.
It was
everywhere.
Yeah, yeah,
And
100%.
you know what? You can't complain about that.
No.
You can't complain about it. Ride with it. Go with it. You know.
Yeah.
Good talking points there, Quattro.
From a national prestige standpoint, Nebraska probably national prestige, but the proximity to talent is so just not where it needs to be.
I actually forgot about them because they've been so forgettable lately.
Right.
You know?
I mean, and look, when your fertile recruiting grounds are Nebraska, Iowa, Minnesota, the states around you, and you got to go into Texas and California, Florida to get your talent, that's a really tough job. And it makes Auburn even that much more attractive given the states that you're surrounded by.
Yep.
We're going to keep it moving. We got I think close to 15 people on the
Yeah.
call line right now.
2 to 3 minutes tops, man.
Yeah. 3643. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, what's up, guys? It's Dwayne from Rainsville.
Who?
Just a couple quick things. It looks like Keith is pretty much on my side of the lane. But I definitely think that part of the reason why I'm a big Lane is just crush Ole Miss's hopes in the fact that they think they can get again.
You're breaking up, big dog.
Yeah, your phone's breaking up. You might want to call back in.
He said, I'm not losing my spot.
You just dropped completely off the earth on that one.
Okay.
Oh,
I think he was from Rainsville.
Yeah.
Rainsville. I think he said Dwayne. Yeah.
Yeah, Dwayne, I think is what he said.
Dwayne from Rainsville.
That's what I said, Cole.
2-0. You're live.
Ken to Jeremy Pruitt.
Yeah, what's up? This is David from Aiken, South Carolina.
What's up, David?
What's up, guys? I'm just wanting to know a little bit about early recruiting period, a potential date to, I guess, maximize that. I know Deion, they'll be playing in the Celebration Bowl December 17th. Lane's tracking for January 1st game. What's y'all thoughts on that?
That's a good question, David. I think if Lane is your guy, does he coach Ole Miss in the bowl game?
No. And look, unless he's in the playoff. If he's in the playoff,
right,
100%. I don't think there's any question. But if Ole Miss is not in the playoff, just like Brian Kelly last year leaving Notre Dame, Lane Kiffin would leave and come to Auburn.
You got to be on campus ASAP. As soon as that Egg Bowl is over with, if you're not in the playoff, you're at Auburn the next morning, and you're hosting recruits the next weekend.
Yeah.
Because that December 21st signing period for a roster this depleted is absolutely critical, crucial. Oh, my God. You cannot miss your third class in a row.
No.
I feel like any coach that they hire that's not in the college playoff will be at Auburn December the 4th or whatever that – when is the November 26th is the Iron Bowl, I think. So you're talking about November the 27th, end of November.
So we're looking at about the next week or so.
Yeah, you're announcing a coach, hopefully, with you. And this was the really great thing because now we're out in front of everything. Okay, we on the show last night, I don't know if you caught it, we talked about him being fired at A&M and then how quickly could we get everything done. Well, now you have 4 weeks before the conclusion of the season to get your search committee, everybody vetted, targets, deals done with agents. Everything can be lined up so that you can make a hire the first week after the season has concluded. Now, I will tell you this, that there is one candidate on Justin's list that you can negotiate with right now, and that's Matt Rhule because he's not employed. So there may be incentive there as far as that's concerned to get that deal done to have him come on in here if that's who they're truly sold on. I mean, I don't think anybody knows right now. I think we know that there are targets that are hotter than others, but I don't think anybody knows exactly who the number one target is, and they may not until they get in deep into discussions.
Hey, good stuff, David. We appreciate the call, man.
I got one more. Can you hear me?
Yeah, man, go ahead.
Did Cohen and Joe Judge, did they have any overlap at Mississippi State? Could he be a potential name?
Joe Judge?
Yes.
So Cohen was the AD when they pursued Joe Judge when he was the wide receivers coach at the Patriots before he took the head coaching job with the New York Giants. So they 100% have had dialogue. I don't know how good their relationship is or is not. And Joe Judge is not a name that I've heard at this point that would be an interested party in Auburn or Auburn interested in him. But I'm sure it's something to monitor. But I wouldn't put it at the forefront or anything of that nature.
Yeah, I can't see that materializing much. Appreciate you, David. You keep it safe up there in Aiken, all right?
All right, let's see. I'm trying to keep all these in order and just keep coming. 1559, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, this is Tanner calling from Montgomery.
Tanner.
What's up, Tanner?
Tanner.
Oh, nothing much.
I'm definitely not a Tanner.
Okay, so I know a few weeks ago, Hope reported something about Jeff Grimes possibly being the leading candidate. I know that was at a time where Rhule was the leading candidate for AD. I was just wondering if his name was also, one of the names being mentioned as a possible candidate now that Rhule's not been hired and we've moved on to Cohen.
He's a candidate.
Yeah, I think he is. I think he's still definitely a candidate. Obviously, Justin posted the 4 names because those are, probably the ones you want to start with. And then a lot of people had the complaint that, Jeff Grimes maybe not the guy you want to start with in this coaching search. So you got 4 names there that seem to be maybe, as far as proven goes, as far as recruiting goes, you go, yeah, these guys are the 4. And Jeff Grimes still in there, right? Just those 4 seem to be a little bit higher.
And side note here, there's interest from Colorado and Arizona State in Jeff Grimes. So we're not the only school, but I feel pretty certain if we wanted Jeff Grimes and we offered Jeff Grimes, we could get Jeff Grimes.
Sure.
But I don't think he's going to be a starting point in this search as of today. But he's a candidate, as is Charles Kelly from Alabama. That's another name that you need to watch on the coordinator level.
Yeah. Yep. I think that's fair to say. Kind of a tier 2 guy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think Justin's posting you tier 1.
My question.
Yeah, buddy. Appreciate you calling in, Tanner.
Yes, sir.
7112, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hey, man. Welcome to the show.
Hey, fellas, how y'all doing?
Good.
Good.
All right, just quick 2 questions. First question will be, will we get this Carlton truck driver over the road right now? So I don't know
What's up, Carlton? Roll on, big dog.
I'm good, brother. I was wondering, so are we going to start getting some real info what happened to Coach Corn? And is Jeff Smetting actually committed to his trade? Is that the reason he's still here? And the rest of the guys that came with Harsin are kind of gone.
The Jeff Smetting, any answer to Jeff Smetting, as far as I'm concerned right now, is conjecture. I think Jhead, your theory is nobody can really take over the defense. I mean, you've got some analysts on the offensive side of the ball. You've got Mike Hartline there. You've got Joe Bernardi.
Joe Bernardi.
You got a couple of good analysts on that side of the ball, I'm not saying defense doesn't have the capability to do that, but I don't know why Jeff Smetting is still here. I was looking at who they let go, and I was thinking, are these the guys that just didn't go out on the road? And if so, why is Jeff Smetting here? Because he certainly didn't. Of course, nobody worked harder than some of these guys that got fired. Drew Pavon, Darren Usher.
It may be because Bryan Harsin, we know he had a hand in the play calling. So Jeff Smetting probably controlled most of everything on the defensive side, and they said he's got a lot of autonomy there. Let's leave it how it is for now.
Right. And like I said, you don't have anybody other than Christian Robinson, who's been an interim defensive coordinator at this point. I think that you have Mike Hartline, who is an offensive coordinator, albeit at a much lower level, but he's been an offensive coordinator and a quarterback's coach. Will Friend has been an offensive coordinator. Obviously,
right, there you go.
Ike Hilliard has been in the NFL as a wide receivers coach. I think they feel comfortable on that side of the ball with the experience that they have with the coaches remaining on staff to be able to put a successful product out there. I think they do want to make sure that they're setting the defense up for success. And because Smetting has had so much autonomy, Cole's right. it just makes sense to leave him where he's at right now. And I don't think I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think Jeff Schmedding is a hindrance to this football team. I don't think he's going to be somebody that's going to hold these guys back. I think he's going to coach extremely hard.
He's a low-key personality too. And but I will say this, with the offensive moves, if the easiest transitional move would be Will Friend to OC. He was OC at Colorado State and had some success in 2017. Bernardi, who's your offensive analyst, 2 offensive line coach. He's got a lot of experience. His dad was a well-known coach, I believe, out in the Pac-12. So it's a much smoother operation there. Hartline, I think that's an interesting one because you're right, Jhead. He doesn't have the experience. To me, it's got to be Friend.
Yeah, that makes more sense.
Yeah. Hartline could probably coach quarterbacks, I would think. I think that's a natural progression for him. He's done that. And then probably Will Friend as your OC with, input from the entire staff.
Was Hartline a D3 offensive coordinator at one time?
He was at what's the school he came from? He was an analyst at Ohio State, and then he was at OC at a D3 school there in Ohio for 3 years. So
we also have McDaniels. Jeff McDaniels is another guy that's a grad. I think he's an analyst that has been, in offensive meetings. That's just another guy that could be helping out.
All right. Appreciate it, fellas.
Appreciate you, Carlton. Be safe out there, big dog.
Don't forget Kendall Simmons potentially being elevated.
Yeah, Kendall. That's right.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you move Will Friend to OC, Kendall Simmons to offensive line, or Joe Bernardi to offensive line?
Yeah, you got options there.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe Simmons to coach tight end, something of that nature.
Or Bernardi could do that as well.
Yep.
Hey, appreciate you, Flip Hardy. Y'all hit that like button, subscribe to Auburn Live YouTube channel.
For sure. 8163, you're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey guys, I'm Noah from Bellin, Georgia.
What's up, Noah?
How you guys doing?
Fairly well, Noah. How about yourself, big dog? Did you have a good Halloween?
I'm not a big Halloween person, but I had a good day. Yeah.
Okay, good.
All right. My first question is kind of about Matt Rhule and like your in-depth thoughts on him, because it was kind of a well-known disaster at Carolina, and he obviously did a good job at Baylor. Didn't recruit super well there, but did a good job coaching those guys up. So, what's your guys' thoughts on Matt Rhule?
Go ahead, Keith. Jump in there, Keith.
I know Jhead was going too. Sorry about that. I always liked him. I mean, Temple, good success there. Track record of going upward wherever he's been. Baylor had to rebuild after the Bryles mess, where they lost a lot of good players, and obviously Auburn was the beneficiary of some of that with Jared Stidham over to Auburn, and also the good little running back.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. So he does have that track record. Look, what somebody does in the NFL. I mean, Pete Carroll didn't have great success in the NFL. Nick Saban, limited success in the NFL. I'll give you another one, guys. One of the biggest NFL disasters of all time.
Steve Spurrier.
No, I'd go worse than that. Lou Holtz did not last one season in the NFL. Okay, so it's a different. It's almost like it's a different sport in a sense. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So you can't really judge too much on that. He's a noted program builder. Now people will say he didn't win games against top 25 teams. There is some truth to that, but his first season they won one game. Okay, in the rebuild process, the first season at Baylor. So I think people think he's an organizational freak, and a guy that knows how to build a program, a guy that can get in there and mix it up, probably hire a solid staff. So there's a lot of people that think highly of him. You know who thinks highly of him? Football people think highly of him. And I'm not sure one failed NFL venture would change that, quite frankly.
Keith, I've got some sources myself that are football people that have told me, and this is all I have to go by. I don't really have a huge opinion on Matt Rhule because I haven't studied him long enough. I know he did a good job at Baylor, but people who know what they're talking about have told me, look, Matt Rhule's organization skills, just like Keith just said, the way that he would put together an NIL plan, the way that he would do this recruiting, man, it is like I would want to work for him. I've had people tell me that. They know how he did things in the NFL, or supposedly that he understands the way NIL is run and would be maybe a step ahead of some of these guys still trying to figure it out. So that's a lot of people would really want Matt Rhule to work under.
Well, and I would say this with regard to what Matt did at both Temple and Baylor. Look, those are not elite recruiting schools, okay? Those aren't schools that traditionally recruit in the top 15 or have that caliber of athlete around them. Obviously, Texas is littered with talent, but when you're competing against Oklahoma, Texas, A&M, several other schools that go in and raid that state, Ohio State, Alabama, it's a really difficult draw there at Baylor. But what he did better than anything is he evaluated at an extremely high clip, and he recruited the trades. So he found guys that were extremely, extremely talented athletes and built them into football players. Okay, he found guys that were, look, they scouted guys at Texas high school track meets and said, he runs a 4.3, get him because I can make him a wide receiver. I promise you that. Auburn doesn't have enough guys that run 3. Now, they got one, and they threw him the damn ball the other day. But they need a few
Finally.
other guys. You know what I mean? They need some more dudes, as Keith would say. Matt Rhule has an outstanding eye at finding dudes, and I do believe that with his quick evaluation system, they probably and the personality he's got. I mean, he's a charismatic guy. I think at Auburn, given our ability to recruit at a national level, he would have a much better recruiting class there than he has at his other 2 stops in Temple or Baylor.
Yeah, I agree with that. My other question about Matt Rhule was, do you think his lack of SEC experience would have any hindrance on him getting the job, considering what we just went through?
No, not for me. Somebody that's coached at the Power 5 level in the Big 12 and has also coached in the NFL, I know he knows what he's doing. Obviously, the SEC is an elite brand of football, and it is cutthroat and like no other. But having a taste of the NFL, and granted, there's not recruiting involved there, and it's a different game. But I have no fear that the speed of the game will not be too much for him. The magnitude of the game will not be too much for him coming from where he's been.
Hey, good stuff. No, we appreciate your call, man.
– 3767. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Sylacauga, Alabama. How's it going, guys?
What's up, Sylacauga?
Sylacauga.
Yes, sir. I just got a question for you guys. All y'all can pitch in if you want.
Go ahead.
Can you hear me, sir?
Yeah, we got
yes,
you.
sir.
Good.
Let's go with it.
All right. I just got a question. Do you think there's any room for improvement for Cadillac the rest of the season? Do you think there's any improvement for the rest of the season, or is it just lack of talent and
just ride it out?
Lose out. What do you think?
That's a damn good question. What's your name, big dog?
My name is Connor Spivey. I'm from Sylacauga, sir.
Hey, what's up, Connor? Sylacauga, home to the first-class journalist Jason Caldwell.
Yeah, it sure is.
Yes, sir.
Nice.
Connor, that's a good question, man.
So I think that there are a lot of teams right now that have gone to an interim situation. Let's look no further than Georgia Tech, where they played an inspired brand of football. The kids are playing freer. They're playing looser. They don't have that cloud hanging over their head to a degree. So I think it can reinvigorate them to a degree, and specifically when you have a guy in Cadillac that they know is as invested in them as they are in him. So I think there's a chance for them to play inspired. Is the talent level where it is? Yeah, it is. You're not going to change your talent level. But can guys play at an emotional high? Okay, because emotion can win you games 100%. Now, it's hard to play on an emotional high, more than 4 or 5 times a year. But can we get up for A&M? We've got more talent than Western Kentucky. Can you get up for Mississippi State going into Starkville? That's what we don't know. Obviously, I would say that the talent is tilted in those other teams' favor other than Western Kentucky. But if you can get up for a home game against Texas A&M and it's 85,000 fans raucous in that stadium, it's not beyond Jimbo to get rattled and have some boneheaded plays there, and for us to get a block punt or a kick return or anything of that nature to kind of spur this team on. So there's a chance to go 2-2 down the stretch. I firmly believe that.
I think it raises the floor a little bit.
Answered.
Good stuff, Connor. Very good question. Something I'm gonna ponder and probably hit on the next show. It's a really good question. Appreciate you calling in, Connor.
3365. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, it's Bo from Moody.
Bo.
Oh.
I heard my name on there last night. I was wondering what it was about.
I'm so sorry, Bo. I called Hogbone Bo. I don't know. I don't know if that was an insult or a compliment. Because Hogbone's my dude, Bo.
No, it's a compliment.
Oh yeah, he's cool. I like him. He's cool.
What's on your mind tonight, Bo?
Oh man, I'm just a breath of fresh air.
Feel relief?
Yes, man. I'm tired of these bammers at my work, man.
Bo, I hear you, dude.
I'm sick of it. We need to go get Prime, and that's the bottom line.
That's your man, Bo?
That's it. I don't want none of them other ones.
Prime is the bottom line for Bo.
Yes, sir.
Duly noted. I don't think anybody would.
Start throwing the ball. They need to start throwing the ball to Camden more, man.
Welcome to September. I'm just kidding, Bo. But here's the thing, Bo.
You Sammy Coates.
Yeah. Here's the thing on Prime, Bo. I don't think anybody is going to be mad if Deion Sanders was named the head coach at Auburn, not at least publicly, right? It's going to create a lot of buzz. I don't think anybody would.
Well, hell yeah. I'll be ecstatic.
Well, we're going to put him down for Bo's pick.
Yes, sir.
All right, Bo. Well, I'm gonna hold you to
God
it.
bless y'all, War Eagle.
Appreciate you, big dog.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Bo said them bammers at his work getting at him, man.
I got news for you, Bo. That ain't gonna change, brother.
There's always one, as Jason Caldwell would say.
Yo, yes, there is.
0993. You're live. Where are you calling from? Who we talking to?
Hey, this is Harry. I'm from Selma.
What's up, Harry?
Harry.
I'm glad to see my boy Jeremiah Wright and get some minutes this week.
Oh, yeah. Did some work, didn't he?
Yeah, I guess I'm going to ask two questions, and I'm going to hang up and listen. I guess it's for everybody. But what are the chances of Quay from Carver being interested in Auburn still, depending on who the coach is? And then also, what is this narrative that you get from the media that Auburn fires good coaches? I guess my rebuttal to that would be, what coaches has Auburn fired in the past who went on to have any success?
All right, I'm gonna let. Good stuff, Harry. Appreciate you calling in. I'm gonna let Cole hit that Quay Rusall because Cole went over to Carver High School today, spoke in person to Quay Rusall. Cole, what you think?
I did. I spoke to Quay today. I've spoken to Quay several times now about Auburn, about his other schools, and why Auburn was in the running in the first place. I mean, he's liked Auburn since he was a young kid. Okay, so this is not. I mean, he said this doesn't change anything. That was the big quote from him today. This doesn't change anything. I love Auburn. It's right down the street. It is a family place. And he told me, look, I mean, when I talked to Bo Jackson, you know, he told me this is a place that you come back to. This is a place that is still family when you leave. You are welcome back. You are taken in like it is your own home. And that is something that's just resonated with him. And look, we've heard that with recruits before, but I mean, he's a guy that really, you know, he's genuine when he talks to you, and he's that's the truth. That's why Auburn's in his top 3, 4, whatever. And he said nothing's changed. Nothing's changed. He said I love Coach Harsin. He treated me and my family well. You know, wish him all the best, but Auburn's Auburn, and that seems genuine to me when I talk to him. But as far as, you know, are they going to land him? You know, that's a different story. And that was a different story, you know, when there wasn't a vacancy at coach, because Alabama's made a great pitch to him. Florida's made a great pitch to him. Georgia's made a great pitch to him. And everybody's coming from every angle. And it's just one of those 5 stars. It's just tough You know, it's tough to win regardless of the situation at Auburn. Even if you get a new coach in that is proven as a recruiter, or a guy like Deion Sanders who could bring so much excitement, it's still going to be tough to win that guy. That's how it goes. So I think Auburn's still in it. Do they win out in the end? I just, you can't really say right now. You just can't say right now.
Four 371. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from? Four three. Oh, wow. He stayed on the call line for like 30 minutes and then hung up.
Oh man.
5052. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hello.
Hi.
Hey.
Hey, this is Chandra Bell.
Hey, Sandra Bell.
How are you?
Doing good. How about you?
Excellent.
Good. I was just wanting to say, I've been listening to all the opinions that everybody has, but one of the things we need to think about with Prime coming to Auburn is, are we ready culturally for Prime? Prime is a very, he's not politically correct. He's old school. And I just believe our culture at Auburn would also be division. Not saying that he wouldn't be right for our situation right now, but we've got to realize the cultural aspect. He's going to come and he's going to be Prime. And I don't think our culture is ready for that.
Did you say your name was Chandra?
Chandra Bell.
Chandra, let me tell you something. I completely agree with you. And this is why I wrote on the message board a week or two ago, back when Deion was, I said there is a less than 0% chance that Deion Sanders will be the next head coach at Auburn. And that's exactly why I think, that's why I would love it. Auburn fans would freaking love it. Most, if not all, of Auburn fans would be tickle pink if Deion Sanders was their coach. But exactly what you just said is exactly the reason I said there was a less than 0% chance.
Now, I will say this. And this is what I will say with regard to Deion and then Prime. Yes, he's going to be Prime. He's going to be the showman. But there's also Deion, the businessman, that has worked with Jerry Jones and multiple other people and been able to sit down in the boardroom and get deals done that not other people can do. So he has to.
I totally agree with that too. But one of the things about Prime also is he's black. And I don't care how well you can do something, sometimes that's just going to be a problem. And with him being from old school like he is in our culture at Auburn University, that just may cause some confusion. And I would love to see him come. But right now, that would be like some serious stuff culturally.
I completely agree.
Maybe this is one of the.
And I'm not saying it's a bad thing, but I'm saying.
Right.
I'm not saying it's a bad thing at all.
Well, and I know Cadillac and Deion are on opposite spectrums personality-wise. I mean, Deion has always been, and I followed him my whole life.
Is he too much for Auburn? I think Chandra, that's what prime time.
Yes, I really.
Is he too much?
Auburn is not ready for that. Auburn is not ready for that. When you think about generation of how we were raised in our culture and how those black coaches would really discipline.
Yeah, I hear you.
Players, it's not that same way. So those are some things that you have to think about when it comes to him coming. He's going to come with the attitude of he's going to discipline those boys. And not saying the others haven't, but it's going to be a different type of discipline. And I don't think our culture is ready for that at this time.
I completely agree with you, Chandra.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to be honest with you. This is the call of the night because I really didn't know why. I really couldn't. And I don't think it's because he's black. I think it's because he's prime.
Okay.
Obviously, I like Keith said, Cadillac, Prime, two totally different people. I'm not judging him on the color of his skin. I'm judging him on his character. You know, his not his character, but just his. He's such a big figure, right? He's so much.
Yes, yes.
He's so much. I don't know that Auburn would be ready for that.
Right.
You disagree with me, Jhead.
Maybe they would, maybe they wouldn't. I think they're wanting to find out. That's for sure.
Sure. I am too.
I think they're ready to have that conversation.
Yep.
I'll tell you what, every couple of days, it feels like there's more and more people that could get behind that.
Right.
Yes.
Well, I'll tell you what would make it work. You know, if he goes in and gets a couple recruiting wins that Auburn hadn't always gotten, goes in and wins, people will rally behind it pretty quick, I think. Winning in college football cures all, I think.
What do they say? What do they say that's sometimes more important than race in people's eyes? How much money somebody has? What's another thing that people sometimes forget about race and things like that? And I agree with you, Jeff, that it's prime time more than a race thing with him. But what's another thing that makes people forget? Success.
Yeah. Sure.
Success. He's a winner, man. Yeah. The guy is a winner. Even when he was losing in his freshman year at Florida State, even in a loss that I was at, he returned a punt 80 yards for a touchdown in the fourth quarter. The guy doesn't quit. He doesn't give up. He doesn't give you an inch. He is a winner.
Definitely, no.
He won in baseball. He won in football. He
won in coaching, won in recruiting.
Nothing that hasn't done. Think about what we all would have thought about him 5 years ago. And I give him.
And here's the thing. Yeah. Prime is transcendental in that he's like Michael Jordan, where he is a brand at this point.
Yeah. He's one of the most transcendent athletes of the last 50 years of American culture. Okay.
Sure.
When you had little Jhead in the backyard, he wasn't pretending to be Joe Montana. He was pretending to be Prime. I was intercepting passes and dancing in the end zone. You know what I mean? Like, that was my deal. So for someone like him of that magnitude, I don't think, like, I get what you're saying with the large personality and the national brand that Prime is coming into Auburn, and maybe that brand being even bigger than the school. I could see where that might be an issue to a degree. But to me,
one thing about it too is if he was to come, he would bring a whole lot of money to Auburn University for so many reasons.
Listen, Nick Saban is paid. I think he's the highest paid football coach in college football, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Game days in Tuscaloosa, because of him, what he's done for that university, they can't pay him enough money for what he's generated. And I assure you, for whatever time Deion Sanders were at Auburn, he would generate revenue because he is an absolute just draw. Okay. And people would be
totally agree.
Yes. Chandra Bell, that was absolutely needed to be said. I'm not smart enough to articulate what my reasoning, but that's exactly my concern was what you just said. And that absolutely needed to be said. Fantastic call.
Listen, I really appreciate that.
Absolutely. Chandra, thank you so much. I hope to hear back from you. Great call.
I really appreciate it.
1635. You're live. Where are you calling from? Who are we talking to?
I'm calling from Hot Atlanta, baby. Hot Atlanta.
Okay. What's up, Hot Atlanta?
Yes, sir. Hey, I guess I'm on, right?
Yeah, you are on.
Hey, this is Lee. Man, that was a great call you just had, and let me tell you what, he was dead on. But you know what, guys? I think you're wrong too, Jeffrey. I think Deion is one smart man. I think Deion has gone to Jackson State and had that swag there because that's what he needed. I think Deion is smart enough that he'd come to Auburn University and know how to handle himself.
Okay, Lee.
I'm a 75-year-old man. I come from Montgomery, Alabama. So I'm one of the guys that that you probably think that would maybe Deion would ruffle the feathers. I tell you what, Deion if I could get 30,000 Auburn fans, 30,000 Auburn fans in front of the athletic director's office screaming, hire Deion, I would do it in a heartbeat. We got to have that man. He is our savior that will save Auburn. He can bring Auburn back.
Oh, wow, Lee.
And
conviction.
I like the passion.
Man, I'm passionate. I am passionate. We need Deion. I've been there. I've been there since Ralph Suge Jordan, Terry Beasley, Buddy McClinton, those guys back then. We had Coach Dye who came in and saved Auburn, our best coach ever that we've ever had. I like all the guys that have mentioned. I think Hugh Freeze, I think Lane Kiffin, I think Grimes, I think all those guys would be good. But Deion is a once-in-a-lifetime hire for Auburn. And, man, if we can get 30,000 people in front of Cole's office screaming Deion, I think the man may think about it.
Okay.
Well, can you imagine Deion?
And like I said, Deion's smart. Deion would come to Auburn, and Deion would know how to handle himself. He's a businessman. He's one smart cookie. He was at Florida State. He played under one of the best coaches ever. He broke Auburn's heart in 1989 and one of the most unbelievable tragic plays for Auburn. He kept us out of the national championship. That guy owes us to come to Auburn. We got to have Deion.
I love it, Lee.
Let me tell you who's sweating this hot. Let me tell you who's sweating this out big time. You think FSU fans want Deion in Auburn?
No, sir.
Oh, no. Of course not.
I mean, we forget they don't play anymore.
If
They're
what,
all
you,
animals.
if what you just said, Jeffrey, what you just said a while ago, what you said like struck a nerve in me, like, oh my gosh. If we hire Lane Kiffin, Deion will probably go to Ole Miss. And then we've all got to face it. And you want that? You want Deion over there? Jeffrey,
I'm listening.
Yeah, Deion would love nothing more than going into the Nick Saban's pantry and plucking a few 5-star players out of his pantry and bringing them back.
Lee, I'm sold.
I think I lost them.
Oh man, hey, good call. Hey, I'm all for it. I'm just with Chandler, man. I don't know if Auburn is ready for it. I'm all for it.
Let me.
Nothing will make me happier. Nothing will make me my professional life happier than for Deion Sanders to be the coach at Auburn University.
Can I just add this real quick? I think the 4 candidates on there right now, everybody looks at those and goes, "Those are." I mean, that's much better than last time. Major upgrade on this coaching search, man. Well, but you can go through these comments right here and find somebody that doesn't like one of them, okay? There's going to be one person that doesn't like them, okay?
Oh, 100%.
Let me tell you what will work for the next hire. Just win, baby. I don't care if it's Deion. I don't care if it's Hugh Freeze. I don't care if it's Lane Kiffin. The whole fan base will come around you. If you win in recruiting and on the field, you'll have it.
I think they're ready to come around to whoever it is right now.
I agree.
Hey, listen, but you're going to have to be patient, man.
Yes, because that roster.
Patience, big dog.
Yeah. Look.
Don't expect that roster's bad.
Yeah, we know. We've been looking at it.
There might be 40 players on that roster. Yeah. Maybe. Keep us rolling, Zach.
5906. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
What's up, guys? My name is Vic from Atlanta, and I appreciate you guys having me on.
Thanks,
we've been back and forth in the chat about this for the past 5-10 minutes, but it's something that has come up to me about Deion Sanders is the fact that his sons
Shedeur.
Player, obviously, and Shedeur is a phenomenal athlete who I think would be number one in our QB room right now. But do you think they have an impact if they were to say, hey, I want to play at an SEC school?
Jhead.
What was the
I don't.
question? Sorry, I was responding to Keith in the chat.
I didn't
Nick,
really understand the question.
Nick, spit it again, big dog.
Nick, are you there?
It was about Deion's son wanting to play at a Division I school or Power 5 school. Is that right, Zach?
Yeah.
And would anybody have any interest there? Was that right, Zach?
He was saying, like, if his sons went to him and said, yeah, I want to play at a P5 institution, would that have any impact on Prom taking the job? I don't think so.
No.
Okay, Zach probably knows more than I do on that.
Taking the job of that level no matter what, but the son's going to go with them. Let's just be honest here.
Yeah, but I don't think Shedor's or Shiloh's making the decision on like what interviews Prom takes or opportunities.
Nobody's telling Deion what to do or what.
Yeah, that's not how it works at all. So
No.
I don't think so.
No.
Interesting theory though, there, Nick.
Yeah, 7479. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hello, this is Randy Levy.
What's up, Randy?
Hey, about you, Randy.
How's it going? I just called in to say that I think Harsin is where I think we should move towards him in the next couple of years.
Well, explain yourself here, man.
Well, I think his offensive scheme is really good. I think we can make it work. I think trading Bo Nix is probably the worst decision that Auburn's ever made.
Well, they didn't make it. I mean, they didn't. It wasn't Auburn's choice.
Randy, I think I understand where you're going in that it's nice to have some pro-style elements to an offense vice what we were necessarily utilizing underneath Gus.
Yes, sir, exactly. I think both Ankle and Harsin together.
I think the issue with the offense that we have right now is that you haven't recruited to it long enough for it to be successful. We don't have the offensive lineman up front to necessarily move people the way we need to play in 12 personnel, 11 personnel, the way they prefer to. We're more built for a spread scheme right now. And to me, the way the NFL game is evolving, you're starting to see a lot of college move into the NFL. Look at what Kansas City does with their dynamic quarterback. There's a lot of RPO spread scheme based in that. Look what the New York Giants are doing with Daniel Jones and multiple other teams. The Ravens have obviously utilized with Lamar Jackson, where there is a lot of spread now in the NFL, and things tend to filter up. And you've seen that at all levels. I mean, things from the high school game filtered into the college game and on up to the pros. So I don't know that getting into 12 personnel every down and distance and trying to, mash people into the ground is the way the game needs to be played these days. I think as long as you have a coach that's dedicated to scoring at a high clip, I could really care less what the scheme is. If they're willing to evolve that scheme over time to ensure that they're constantly utilizing the best players on the field and putting a good product out there. And right now we're not putting a good product regardless of what the scheme is.
Hey, good stuff there, Randy. Keep us going there, Zach.
0344. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from T.I., Mississippi. My name's Drake.
Drake?
Yes.
All right, what's up, Drake? What's on your mind tonight, big dog?
All right, what I want to talk about is I'm an Ole Miss fan.
Okay.
All right.
Oh.
Welcome to the show.
My first time seeing you guys. So, I just want to sit here and think about how Auburn is trying to pick all of Ole Miss's coaches up from one. And then why would y'all not be going for fire if y'all were going for the real coach?
Well, Ole Miss is the minor leagues for Auburn.
Oh.
I couldn't say that with a straight face. I hear you, Drake. Well, let me ask you this, Drake. Curious to know. If Auburn were to get Lane Kiffin, would you be okay with Ole Miss hiring Deion Sanders?
Prime time.
Would you be okay with that?
Yes.
Okay. Would you prefer Deion Sanders over Lane Kiffin?
No. Not. I'm just saying it's one of those two coaches.
Okay, I hear you. I think Auburn fans are the same way.
Well, look, if you don't like prime time and what he's done, then and look, he's going to get you all the recruiting in the world. But so is Lane Kiffin. But got to put all that shit together.
Yeah.
I think the fear with Deion, and I've said this a couple of times, is the fear of the unknown, is that what happens when you move from the SWAC, which is, and I'm not trying to degrade it, but it's a lower level of FCS football, okay? It's not a power conference in the FCS leagues. Jackson State is a fantastic team, 100%, and I think they're probably going to do well in the FCS playoffs, but it's not a great conference overall.
They don't go to the playoffs. They got the Celebration Bowl.
Right, so they don't even get into the FCS playoffs. So to go from that to the highest level of football, there's a discussion that has to be held there with Deion so that you kind of have an understanding of what his vision is, what the program would be underneath him, how the day-to-day operations would be handled. It is the SWAC on 10,000 steroids, okay, as far as what's going to be coming at him, and not having ever coached at that level, there's concern there, obviously. So you need to vet that extremely carefully, ensure that he's going to have a staff around him that can give him the things that he needs to be successful at this level, and then have people around him on the off-the-field staff that can ensure that he's able to do the things he needs to do to be Prime, to be Deion, you know what I mean, and to get this – immerse himself into Auburn and to make sure that he takes this over flawlessly and is not, catching up, which is what we saw with this most recent coaching regime, as a coach that didn't necessarily understand the SEC. Now, I think Deion's much a better fit, and he's a name, there's no question. But you had a coach that didn't quite understand the speed of the game to a degree, and I don't mean on the field. I mean everything that goes on off the field.
Interesting question there, Drake.
Oh, wait on. All right. Another anonymous number. You're live. So if you hear me on your phone, you are live.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Who we talking to?
You got Weagle 1492 from I'm a bunker poster, but just caught you guys live tonight and had a few really wanted to pick your brain, but had a few thoughts.
Well, I appreciate the call there, Weagle.
What's up, man?
Yeah, man. So really what I'm interested in hearing you guys, like, what your take is I've been very impressed with President. I mean, under Goose, dude, it just wasn't that hard to get information, and what it looked actually happened was we thought about Hartwell, but under the radar, we were talking to ADs all over the league. Yeah. No one knew. So, that's pretty crazy, and when I saw the way things went down today, I was thinking, man, there's no way we might think we know who's going to be the coach, and maybe it is going to be Deion or Lane or something, but it could just as easily be somebody out of left field that we had never even heard of because of how tight Roberts is. So just curious to hear you guys' thoughts on Roberts and, the likelihood of a left field hire and that kind of thing.
All right, Weagle, fair question. Is it going to be as tight as the AD search was? In my opinion, no. And it's because of what Keith said earlier. Coaches talk just as much as we do. ADs may not, but coaches do. Agents do. There will be names floated. Well, and listen, it might be a left field hire. I don't know.
I think the hardest thing is when you're an AD, you're one person, right? And if you're a coach
Mm-hmm.
being hired, you're asking around other assistants, like, would you be interested in coming with me to this job? And
Right
then
on.
it starts to trickle out. Agents get involved, sometimes to get a money grab for their current representative, sometimes because they're truly interested. So other names start to float to a degree. So no, I expect it to be far more noisy this time around than the AD search. But to your point about as far as my impression with President Roberts, very impressed, because obviously if he was negotiating with Hunter Yurcek, who's a fantastic athletic director at Arkansas, and until this whole thing was over, no one knew about it, to negotiate with John Cohen the way that he did and to vet that candidate. I mean, look, when President Gouge was the president, we picked Jay Jacobs over Scott Etheridge and I think Dan Radakovich, who was the assistant athletic director at Louisiana State University at that time. You just plucked a sitting Power 5 AD within your own conference. Think about how far we've come and what this president just put out there. Now, in my lifetime, this is the most credentialed AD we have ever hired, period. The most credentialed. And the first one outside of Alan Green that has come from outside the family.
Mm-hmm.
And Alan Green, I think, had, 2 years at Buffalo as a sitting AD? So 2 years at a G5 school in the MAC versus a guy that's been a 7-year sitting AD in the SEC. I think that says
a pretty good one. I mean, a damn good one, really.
Absolutely.
At that. So, you know, I don't think anybody could be disappointed with this hire. The more you think about it, the more you like it. You know, I was a big Hartwell guy myself, and I was excited to be on board. But Cohen is not as much of a splash maybe, but extremely qualified, like you guys are saying. And the way Roberts went about it just gives me a lot of faith that we've got, you know, real professionals kind of running things. And so, you know, hopefully we're able to restock on talent and all of that. I'll let other callers get on, but I did want to say one other thing, and this is just, you know, public message to Cohen. You can't say no to Bruce at Auburn, so just stay out of Bruce's way, and we'll all have a great time.
Fair enough, Wiggle. Hey, appreciate you calling in, man. We really do appreciate that.
I want to say one thing. When some people seem to be disappointed that there wasn't a so-called splash hire for the athletic director position. But I would ask everybody listening, can you name 10 athletic directors in the entire country?
I can, but we don't want to do that right now.
Well, you don't have you don't have a life, okay? That's proven, okay? And we love you. That's why we love you, quite frankly, because you do all the dirty work for us. But no, I mean, seriously, what would be a splash hire? That would be my question. What would have been one? You know what I mean?
Right. I think a sitting Power 5 AD is a pretty big hire.
All right, let's do it. Look, we got 3 more, Zach. Let's knock them out real quick.
Perfect. 7548. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
This is JK in LA, Lower Alabama.
What's up, JK?
Question is, of the candidates that y'all mentioned, who do you think's going to put the most fear in Nick Saban and Kirby Smart?
Oh, good question, JK. We appreciate the call, man. Appreciate the question. Well, let's just hit it all real quick. Everybody's opinion on that. Who's going to put more fear in Nick Saban, Kirby Smart, of the guys that Justin named today? Cole, you like this question.
Lane Kiffin.
Lane Kiffin from Cole. Keith.
I'm going to say Lane because of what you know, and
Yes.
Deion because you don't know what he's capable of.
Jhead?
I'm going to say Hugh Freeze because he's whipped Saban's ass twice.
Oh.
He dang sure has, hasn't he, Jhead?
Zach, you want to throw a name out there?
It's Prom. It's not even
Oh.
a question.
Oh, well, then if it's not a question, I'm going with Prime. I'm going with Zach. Dude, yeah, I could see that, man. You talking about putting the biggest dent in his pantry? But I would like listen, either one of those two guys, man.
Same room is Kirby Smart and Nick Saban and pull it off.
You know, of the 4, I would put those 4 in 2 different tiers for myself personally. And I've got Lane and Deion in my tier 1, and I've got Rhule and Freeze in my tier 2. That's just personally for me. And a big reason why is the fear. Yeah, I think that would that's just me. And a lot of that is basing how will it affect Alabama? How would it affect Georgia? Will it get you? Will it get you back to getting even with them on the same level as them? Hey, good stuff, JK from LA. We appreciate the call, big dog.
War Eagle, appreciate it, fellas.
Yes, sir. Appreciate you.
2641. You're live. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
Hey, man, this is Jason the Plains right here at Auburn.
What's up, Jason?
Jason.
How are y'all?
Good.
Fantastic, man.
I'm not going to be too long. I just got two questions. My first question, I know y'all hinted towards second waves of staff getting fired. Do you think John Cohen's going to bring in his own staff and fire some of the guys Alan Green brought in?
Ooh.
Potentially.
Sure.
I would think so.
Why not, right?
Yeah. I mean, I think you've already seen one move with Rich being elevated, but I would think you're going to bring in guys to help you put in your vision for what the athletic department should be.
That's what Alan Green did.
Right.
Sure.
So now it's their turn to go.
That's right.
Yeah, well, you should. You should
There you
surround
go.
yourself with people that you trust and you know what they're capable of and all that. You should.
And I do think you're going to see retention within that athletic department. I don't think everybody's getting fired by any means. I think you've got guys like Tim Jackson that have been there for a long time. I know that's a lightning rod name, but a guy that has done some things at Auburn, and I think he'll probably be maintained. There's several others on that staff. But I think probably guys that are devout Allen guys that were brought in underneath his administration, I think their future probably is questionable moving forward with Auburn, if I had to guess.
I think that's fair.
And my last question, I know everybody's up about the Deion Sanders talk. I think the caller a couple minutes ago, I think that was a back take. I think Auburn is ready, and the culture, it will be ready for Deion. I think our society has changed tremendously, and I think Deion will be a great fit at Auburn. But my more concern is everybody knows that he's going to put fear in Saban, and he's going to be able to go toe-in-toe in anybody's living room for a recruit. My question is, how is he X's and O's?
Yeah.
I think that's a great
You know he can get the Jimmys and Joes, but how can he do with the X's and O's?
I based my Lane Kiffin answer on the fact that they do not want to have to defend, they are worried about defending his offense. They always have trouble with it. We know that for a fact, and we know he can recruit. So that is double trouble to me.
They'd be concerned about it, especially if the talent level was equal.
That's the point, is that when all talent is equal, what happens in the game?
Now, I don't know about Deion's X's and O's and his philosophy. What I do know is when you look at his staff, quite frankly, he's got a pretty good staff. Tim Brewster, tight ends coach, former Power 5 head coach at Minnesota, is his tight ends coach at Jackson State. Mike Zimmer, former head coach of the Minnesota Vikings, is on his staff. Zach, am I missing some other people? He is very well respected in NFL circles. It wouldn't be a surprise, guys. Look, first of all, we know coaches love Auburn. They love that lake right down the road. Coaches that we know that have been fired by Auburn retire at Auburn. They love the area so much. And it is a place that people want to live. And a guy like Deion, I think you'd probably see some NFL coaches slide down to college to work with them. I truly believe that. Now, I don't know who put the best staff together. I mean, if Lane Kiffin gets the job, his brother's the D-line coach with the Cleveland Browns. Maybe he'd come back to the colleges. So I don't know. I don't know Deion's philosophy, but I do know that when you look at his staff right now, he's already done a hell of a job with 1/100th of the resources.
And I couldn't agree with you more. I think there is some concern for me, though, Keith, getting too NFL heavy with the college football staff because the recruiting component is such a major deal. It's so different. So you have to make sure you balance that.
Here's a hot take. Nick Saban is an elite recruiter. He's a good game day coach.
Yeah, that's fact. Kirby the same.
All right.
Hey, Jason, great call, man. We appreciate it. Zach, you got the last one?
If you have great players, that's all you need to be, is just good on game day.
As I said, I could coach Alabama to 8 wins.
Yeah, right.
Oh, shit. Colson. At least turn your camera off.
No, I'm agreeing.
Oh, okay.
Right.
Let's go slight on those coaches, okay? Those are some bright coaches. They're winning a hell of a lot of games. but it helps when you got the players, obviously.
Right on.
Absolutely, it does.
17.
Last call.
Yeah, 1704. You're live, closing down the show. Who we talking to? Where are you calling from?
How you doing? This Fitz. I'm born and raised out of them. I'm from Birmingham, but I live in Atlanta.
What's your name?
Let me say this. My name is Fitzgerald.
Fitz. All right, Fitz. What's up, big dog?
I'm doing all right. Let me say this. Let me be very clear. A lady called earlier, and she spoke on the cultural difference in the state of Alabama. Well, I live in the state of Georgia, and in the state of Georgia, in the Atlanta area, it don't matter if you're black or white. It matters if you do your job good. It don't matter. It don't matter about the lily white politics of the state of Alabama. Let me say this. Let me be very clear about this. What does Auburn have to lose? We ain't had a damn quarterback since Nick Marshall. We're the laughing stock of the SEC. We're still paying coaches. It's just like the political system we live in America. It is very clear that the so-called intellectuals can't do the job. The people that they didn't hire, we're in the toilet. Auburn University is in the damn toilet. What do we have to lose? Now, let's look at University of Alabama. Let's look at the model. Don't get this very clear. The phenomenon of Deion Sanders is not very different than the phenomenon of Nick Saban. Nick Saban is a Yankee. He's a Northerner. When he came to Alabama, he had so many problems with the AD. He had so many problems with the boosters about the way they used to do things. Guess what Nick Saban told him? Shut your damn mouth and let me win football. All the universities got to do this, and y'all got to fulfill me, because if you're running from the truth, you're just a sucker. Auburn University, all these lily white folks with their own shit, need to go sit down and be quiet and get somebody to do the damn job. It don't matter if they gay, it don't matter if they black or white. Get somebody to win some damn football games. That's what Auburn University needs to do. We ain't got a goddamn quarterback in Nick Marshall. We in the toilet. We the national stock of the SEC. Our biggest rival, they compete nationally every year to win it all. And what are we doing? We're the national stock. What does the University of Auburn have to lose? What can a so-called intellectual in a front office say about Deion Sanders? Shut your mouth. You have to win. Get somebody, regardless of style, regardless of political, social, economic, or any type of ideology. Win some damn football games. And I'm through, y'all.
Fitz, well,
Mama
I don't know if
yes, hire this man right here.
I'm on board with Fitz, man.
Yeah,
that was the best call of the night to end the show.
Hey, Fitz, absolutely, dude. What a great and listen.
They need to. Oh, go ahead.
That's how it should be. Absolutely, that's how it should be. Me and Chandra don't think that's how it is.
I'm going to hire Fitz as the athletic director in charge of no bullshit.
No.
That was great.
I mean, you talking about Auburn that loves power and control, and you're not going to have a damn. And listen, again, that's how it should be, but that's not how it is.
That's right.
That's what me and Chandra are saying. I agree, Fitz. That's exactly how it should be, but the reality is that's not how it is.
Would a Deion be willing to cede some of that control for this elite job? Okay, because whoever you hire, if they win big, they're going to be bigger than the people with the say. Okay,
I think that's what Lee was saying.
That entity, you know what I mean?
Will you get a toned down Deion? I don't think so,
No.
and I don't think you want one. Do you?
You won't get you won't get a toned down Lane Kiffin.
No,
that's right. You get what you get out of these guys. I'm just saying. I mean, it's Deion. Look. This isn't the 20-year-old Deion anymore. This isn't the 30-year-old Deion. This is a guy that has put together this incredible plan and is doing all these amazing things. And you know, we're all a little more rambunctious at 20 than at 50. Okay,
sure.
He's a different guy. I do think he deserves a good, serious look. And maybe
absolutely
they do think, you know, this is the guy. And I can't imagine too many people having a problem with that. But, you know, we'll see.
Listen, Keith, for everything that I've heard to this point, Deion is going to get a look, a legitimate, hard look. And maybe more than that. So I don't think anybody needs to worry about Deion not being in the mix. He's going to be in the mix. He's going to be a part of this coaching search. Will he be the end candidate? I don't think anybody knows that at this point. But I think he's 100% squarely in the mix, and then there's interest on both sides as far as that's concerned.
Listen, if you want Deion Sanders as a head coach, I'll keep saying there's a less than 0% chance because I'm going to be wrong. So I'm doing you a favor. I'm on a double jinx you here. There ain't no way Auburn will hire Deion Sanders. Ain't a damn chance in hell Auburn hires Deion Sanders.
I like all four of the guys. I like all four of the guys we've mentioned, and quite frankly, of the main guys that we think are the main tier guys. And I also like some of the other guys we mentioned, and I like some of the guys we haven't mentioned. Joe Witt Jr. I think there's a lot. The situation is right at Auburn right now. You're at bottom. You're only going to go up. NIL's big. You've got the facilities. You've got a galvanized fan base. This is the time. This is the time. I think there's a lot of good candidates, but I really love Deion and Lane Kiffin.
Somebody shot a chat in the chat. What's going on? Sean Payton.
He's going to be the next head coach of the Carolina Panthers. Next.
Okay.
Jeffrey, I want to say real quick too. I'm not like gung ho disagreeing with you and Chandra, but just win, man. Just win, and everybody will rally around it. I don't think it's any more simple than that.
But what if he doesn't?
If he doesn't, well, maybe I agree.
How quickly these people turn.
Yeah, well, I mean, everybody was pretty fired up about Bryan Harsin at one time, and there you go. Everybody was pretty fired up about Gus Malzahn. I don't think anybody's exempt from that. I don't think anybody is.
But the difference is, look at Mario down at Miami right now.
Yeah.
Yeah,
right.
but people thought Miami would be good this year. There's no preconceived notions about this. Everybody knows where Auburn is right now. Okay, I think that has bought the next coach a little bit of patience. I really do.
Until recruiting happens, Keith, and if he has some success on the recruiting trail, know how the hype machine starts.
That's okay. But if you're going 6-6 that your first year, but you're also recruiting a top 10 class, look at what's happening with some of the guys across the country right now. That's what ultimately got Bryan Harsin fired now, as opposed to later on.
100%.
What was happening now was bad enough, but people were looking at the future and saying, "Well, how are we going to get out of this hole?" There's nothing that says we're going to get out of it. So, and we know Deion's going to recruit. Okay,
I agree. And I think what I was going to say is, the messaging by the next head coach, whoever it is, needs to be, this is a rebuild, guys.
That's right.
Understand where we are. Messaging is key, and there needs to make sure that that's communicated at each and every step to every level, whether it's the fan base, the booster base, the faculty, whoever, you know what I mean, to get that full buy-in.
Just watch where we are. I rebuild. Just watch as I rebuild.
No,
just watch as I rebuild.
That's lightning rod for we're going to be good.
Expectations should be low for 3 years.
Hey, you know what they need to do?
You think so, Jhead?
I think 2 is about what you can get with expectation to be low. I think you better be playing in bowl games. There needs to be some proof.
Oh, for sure. I'm talking about championship contention.
Oh, yeah. I just mean, look, this is a fan base that wants to be back to 8-4 and exceeding that within a year or so. I mean, this is not a fan base that's going to be content with going 5-7 and looking like Mike Norvell looked at Florida State for 2 straight seasons. Like that's not going to work here. So there needs to be gradual improvement each and every year.
Auburn fans are ready for the floor to be 9 wins.
Yeah.
That's a bad year. And I think that's 3 to 4. You get the right guy. Auburn can do this, man. With the NIL the way it is, I really feel like this is the time. I said it last night on the show. Monumental moment right here in Auburn football history. A lot of things lining up for you. Hell, we talked about the pool of candidates that we're talking about, and we don't even know if that's all of them. Some stud candidates.
Listen, we're on October 31st, D-Day for Auburn football right now. Look, I mean, they just started the invasion today. Let's see where this goes. You know what I mean?
Hey, let's end it, folks. Great show, man. We had 25 callers we got to. Sorry if we didn't get to everybody, but, man, what a great show. We we really appreciate everybody listening. Of course, again, if you're not subscribed to Auburn Live on 3, we're going to be doing this, man. We've got the information coming in daily. We're going to be all over this coaching search. We're going to be all over the rest. I want to see everybody come out and support these players, man. I want to see them finish this season appreciated, and hope we see some good home crowds. Subscribe to Auburn Live on 3 if you're on the YouTube page right now, which you should be. Give us a subscribe and a like. Hit those notifications because we're going to be putting out free content all week, every day of the week. We appreciate it again, everybody. Jhead, you look like you got something to say there, buddy.
I was
okay.
looking at what Keith just dropped in the chat.
Oh, I missed it. I'll get to that in a minute. But yeah, we really do appreciate everybody listening tonight, calling in. It was fantastic. We really appreciate that. We're going to be back, probably back tomorrow at some point. We're going to be doing something every day. So y'all stay tuned to us. Stay tuned to Auburn Live on 3. For Keith, for Jhead, for Cole, for Zach in the back, I'm Jeffrey Lee, man. Y'all stay out of the left lane. See ya.